The grand finale at Le Grand Circuit in French France. The historic road racing championship comes to a close today, and it's all to play for at the top. You know that track in northwestern France that a 24-hour race is held on? It's that, but not as you know it. Chicanes? What chicanes? 1954 sports cars racing at up to 200 miles an hour for 2 hours through the French countryside with absolutely no room for error. Jernej, Simoncic and GP Laps both within a shot of taking the championship today, so it'll be a race of strategy and pace to achieve that top spot and be the king of vintage car racing here in R Factor 2. And to take you through this final race, brought to you by the fine folk at Simply Racing Milton Keynes, it's myself, Aidan Maud, and with me is probably the only man who would steal a car and keep it taxed and insured. It's Alex Goldschmidt.
Hello, Aidan. Hello, everyone. Lovely introduction, of course, of yours truly. Lastminute.com substitution, I believe. But yeah, a fantastic way to finish off the Historic Road Racing Championship. And yeah, I mean, it was really good to be back earlier on in the commentary box with you earlier on in the season.
Yeah, that was for the Dundrod round. Yeah, it's a very long time ago, it feels like. But we're here now at the finale. You can see the layout of the track, and we're calling it Le Grand Circuit because of the licensing issues that tend to surround this kind of thing. So we've got to be super duper careful. But you know, and I know it's that track. But you can see it's a direct run to the start finish line. There's no chicanes. There's no Porsche curves. I mean, we can call them Porsche curves and Ford chicanes. That's fine. We just can't use the name. And using the old style Le Mans start as well. It's not going to be quite like Grand Theft Auto, running to the car and pressing enter to get in and then driving off. They're just going to be driving off in those little bays you can see to the side. But 17th of December 2022, round 6, Le Grand 2 hours. It's been a great little season to watch. We started off with the Longford 2 hours back in July, which feels such a very, very long time ago, and doing the Isle of Man TT and the Targa Florio last time out on the 19th of November. And it's great to see. I mean, we say this all the time, Alex, and it was starting to sound like a broken record. It's so good to see something that isn't GT3s.
It makes a nice change, and when I jumped on the broadcast with you for Dundrod in what was it? Close to 2 months ago, October 22nd. I was waxing lyrical, and I'm going to continue waxing lyrical because we've got the 5 litres, the 3 litres, the 2 litres back again. And this is what really, really adds a nice dynamic to sim racing, where you've got no aids, you've got no assists. It's just flat out, pardon the pun, balls to the wall. That's what it's going to be, or balls to the grassy verges here at Le Grand. But it just really is going to provide a hell of a spectacle. And Dundrod was a hell of a lot of fun. We saw Oskari Kantonen just literally romp away like nobody's business. And he's one of many drivers that could be going for the title this very afternoon. And yeah, I'm looking forward to the battle.
Yeah, if Jake and Jernej do stack it and somehow Oskari wins overall, he could win the overall championship. But we're really looking at Jake and Jernej there at the top, 26 and 22 respectively. I think the maths has escaped me, but I think that if Jernej wins, Jake can finish third. I think that's the max he can achieve and get away with it, as it were. Jernej taking the Isle of Man and Dundrod rounds out. He wasn't here for Isle of Man because he was doing the 6 hours of Bahrain virtual Le Mans, and just wasn't here for Dundrod. I don't know if he was doing something else at that time. Maybe it was virtual endurance championship or something like that. But anyway, there is your 5 litre drivers championship standings. 5 litres, they're going to be romping away with it. That is the Mulsanne on your screen right now. No chicanes. I think it's something like 3.5 miles, just flat out, then slamming on the brakes for Mulsanne corner itself. I did it in an LMP1 car for a video a couple of months ago, and it was horrible. I don't know what it's going to be like in these cars. The Jag's going to have the advantage with the disc brakes. Ferrari going to have the drum brakes, but behind the wheel of that Ferrari is Jernej Simoncic. So it's all to play for, really. And here's the 3 litre Drivers' Championship standings. We're going to be seeing probably more 5-3-2 more than we did at the last couple of rounds. It's been a good balance of circuits this season, like Longford and Spa. They were 5 litre territory. This is 5 litre territory. The other 2 classes came back into it for the time trials and that sort of thing. But Oskari Kantonen I mean, he's won the 2-litre Drivers' Championship. But there is no doubt about it. He didn't even need to turn up. Silverwolf could just... I mean, I know if Silverwolf actually got pole position, he would have been able to do it because he would have got the bonus point for that. But Oskari Kantonen's pretty much won that one. So he's just going out for a nice Saturday drive. Some decent drivers on there, like Isidoro, who won the class at the Isle of Man. Great showing from him. Jake Britton not turning up to the last 3 rounds, but still on a decent haul of points. So it's all been great to watch. The driving standards have been incredible. The broadcasters looked great. The commentators have been rubbish, but it's just been a lot of fun to watch. And like we say, to have something that isn't GT3s, and you yourself, Alex, you've probably got another GT3 race and probably another GT3 race at Spa, but now we're going to have historic racing cars at the Grand Circuit. The 1967 layout, it has to be said. So this is the layout that the 4 GTs ran at that time. So it's a very historic, very prestigious venue, and it's going to bring back memories of, well, if you're old enough, that is, memories of those cars running around. And if I had a time machine, I probably would go back to Le Mans around this time to watch those cars.
Yeah, I mean, there's plenty of activity on the chat on Aiden's YouTube channel at the moment, which is also being broadcasted on there. But yeah, I had GT3s to the eyeballs at the Sim Racing Expo in Nuremberg a couple of weeks ago, and it's so refreshing to have this. Are we going to see 3 wheels on those wagons like we did at Dundrod 2 months ago? It just depends on how you approach certain parts of the circuit, you know, like Mulsanne, Indianapolis, Arnage. Those are corners that are really going to test the drivers, especially, as I said earlier, no assists. That's where you've got to really, really nail your braking points. And we've already seen in the pre-qualifying where Jernej was an absolute savage. I mean, the only drivers to dip below the 3-minute 52s. Mark Zeidler was quickest in the 3 litres with a 4-minute 3.8, and then Oskari Kantonen and the Mighty D were within half a second of each other in pre-qualifying. So yeah, I think it's going to be an interesting one. I'm really looking forward to seeing how Jake gets on. So he wasn't too far off of Jernej. And we did see that some of the 5 litres did come into dramas at Dundrod. I think Jake came into dramas, and then we had I'm trying to remember who it was. It was that was it. Real Deal God had so many
beached on the
was beached and got assists, and then someone else ended up with 3 wheels on their wagon for assisting Real Deal God. It was definitely the meme part of the show, wasn't it, in Dundrod a couple of months back, Aiden?
Yeah, we're just having a little bit of a laugh at his expense, but fair play to him. He carried on, almost finished the race, but just ended up being in the wrong place at the wrong time. It was also quite helpful for someone to come along and just give him a bit of a bump off that as well. I don't think that's going to happen here today, because if you wipe out on the Mulsanne,
yeah, it's
a one-way trip into that guy's front room. I know we were looking at this with 2022 eyes, but we look at them and it's like, how? Why did you even... I guess this is 1954, 10 years prior to this race. This was a battleground.
Yeah, and I still remember actually going to the Le Mans International Karting Circuit, which is based just off of the modern-day Porsche curbs. And to then see sort of like construction offices, tire service providers as well. Is Le Mans nowadays is not so much an industrial town; it's more a city with the amount of infrastructure that's around it. But it's good to bring the old days back.
It always is. I mean, that shot by itself.
Yeah.
I mean, we're racing 1954 cars. Obviously, 1955, we had the very, very, very unfortunate accident that almost ended motorsport, but they carried on. They put the safety procedures in place, and it wasn't until I think it was 1960 or 1970 that they put an actual proper pit lane in here. So it's almost like they learned their lesson but didn't learn their lesson.
So like 1 step forward, 2 steps back, really, in that kind of situation. But yeah, safety, back in the 1970s, championed by a certain 3-time Formula One world champion, Sir Jackie Stewart, has helped motorsport safety to progress to what it is now, was the catalyst for it. But back in the 50s, it was everyone was there having fun, enjoying the atmosphere, enjoying the circuit, and they knew that there was the risk. But yeah, we'll see what happens over the next 2 hours, mate.
Yeah, we're just in the process of qualifying at the minute, and then there'll be a little bit of warm up, and then we'll get on with the afternoon's festivities. It's good to see everybody in the chat. So I'm just checking my live stream chat. Brian Hewitt is currently laughing in French. The Racing Boy one says, "Gentlemen, start your motors." I think everybody's just making gags about the like jazz and cigarettes. I mean, if I smoked, I probably would. Probably have lit a couple of gitans up or something like that. But
yeah,
I don't think Aiden likes GT3s and Spa. I like GT3s. I like Spa. Occasionally, I like GT3 and Spa. I just don't like GT3s and Spa all the time.
Yes.
What else? Is this Clermont-Ferrand? No, this is Legrand. No, this is Patrick. Yeah, so I think it's going to be an interesting afternoon. I mean, like, there is quite a lot of football off this afternoon, so we're providing an opportunity. There we go. Frozen pitches. So I'm watching HRRC live for the first time. There we go.
Hey, get in.
Walsall had their game cancelled, so yeah, I'm here. Not that I was going to be at Bescott anyway, but we can see the cars lined up at the start of the race here on the starting grid. Now, remember back in the old days, they would have stood on those circles on the right-hand side and then run to their cars. The honkers coming on, and we are away. A couple of the cars appear to have stalled. Everybody is away unless that 286 is just waiting. Oh my god! Oh, that was almost an accident. But everybody's away. Unit Simoncic has just absolutely bolted into the lead. A 1 second gap nearly to Nico Hillebrand. Hopefully he doesn't wrap it around a tree this time. Real Deal God is in third, but where is Jake? There he is. I can just see him on the inside heading towards the Dunlop chicane. Mighty D leading the 2-litre class and Rajasu leading the 3-litre class. So everyone's a little bit shuffled up now as they come out of the Dunlop chicanes and head towards Tetra Rouge for the first time. And then, as the yellow flag comes out in sector 1, cars just jockeying for position. Hillebrand up the inside of Simoncic. Real Deal God looking at Simoncic as well. Now begins the slipstream battle.
Yeah, this is where it's going to be incredibly interesting as, well, is there an unplanned bump? Because it seems like some cars are going skyward. But yeah, Hillebrand getting the jump on Simoncic early, who's in the tow, and you are literally bump drafting here. There is no Hunaudière, the traditional chicanes that we see nowadays. So it's, I hate to think what speeds they're going to be doing going into Mulsanne, because that's going to be at a right old rate of knots.
So your top 5 in the 5-litre class as they come up the Mulsanne is Hillebrand, Simoncic. Well, it's Hillebrand, Real Do God, Simoncic, Robillard, Schneider. I'm assuming Jake's a little bit further down than that. The Mighty D leading the 2-litre class. So basically how this has happened is there is a... there we go. Now they've flicked around as the engine power takes over on the Mulsanne. And yeah, coming up to the hump where Mark Webber famously flipped it in 1999. Or one of the places that he flipped it in 1999. Then the kink before Mulsanne corner. You can just see it there. It's that elevation a little bit more pronounced on this version. It's been flattened out on the real track since to stop accidents like that CLK doing what it was doing. Real Deal God has taken the lead. Simoncic just about a tenth behind, and then it's all about the braking into Mulsanne corner. Very tentative on the brakes. Nobody's doing anything stupid, but everything seems to be okay. A couple of kicks of oversteer. You can just see Jake there in the 100. And here come Mark Zeidler and co. That's the wrong way, sir, and you've lost your wheel.
Yeah, I did say about 3 wheels on
Janssen,
those wagons.
I think, that had that unfortunate accident. That's not a good way to start the race. We're barely 3 minutes in.
No, and there's more. Yeah, that Janssen's
still going. Oh, there was someone else
ended
up in the wall.
Yeah, somebody else has ended up in the wall. So yellow outs in sector 2. Very kindly, Ian has just told us that the jump is a small issue with the mod and updates done with the physics, so yeah, it's going to be a little bit wonky. So don't worry, they are putting down the throttle as they're coming out of that part of the circuit, coming out of Tetra Rouge.
Netcode.
Yeah. Oh, and we've got our first DNF within the first 5 minutes.
Nicoli B is out as the 3 litre class cars are now at Arnage, and from here it is a flat out run. No Porsche curves, just straight on. As we can see in the top left hand corner of your screen, Simoncic and co heading towards Maison Blanche and towards the start finish line to complete the first lap of this 2-hour race. And the cars very, very close together. It's practically an oval at this point.
Yes. And look at the amount of dust they're picking up going through into Maison Blanche. I mean, that is just absolutely ridiculous. They must be pushing at least probably the best part of 150 miles an hour going through that. And yeah, it's... I mean, now Real Deal God is starting to pull away from Jernej Simoncic. Gap is now about 0.6 of a second as they head in towards Dunlop. And this right-hand kink on the start-finish straight, very, very deceptive here, I think.
I think a lot of the corners are deceptive, especially if you're used to cars with a little bit of downforce, as people like Simoncic and Hillebrand are. Simoncic racing in the LMP2 at the Virtual Le Mans Series. Also racing, I think he's racing DPIs in the Virtual Endurance Championship. So a little bit different to what he's used to at this particular track. Different layout, different car. And I've found that I'm more of an open wheel Formula type of driver. You drive a car that you know is going to stick every time you throw it into a corner, and then suddenly the car doesn't want to do that, and you're in a wall and you get very frustrated and you have to relearn everything. But we've had Road Dogg, Finn and Nicoli B out of the race as the 5 litres are now on the Mulsanne. Probably just saving fuel here. No one's trying for a move. I keep expecting them to slam on the brakes, but they're not, because there's no chicanes. But like I said, 3.5 miles that straight. It's like driving on the A15, isn't it?
Yeah.
Sort of the other side of Lincoln, where it's dead straight.
Or driving on part of the M1 where it is dead straight and there's no variable speed limit, and you got be like the German
BMW's
Autobahn
doing 140 past you.
Yeah. Whilst undertaking.
Yeah. Oh, here we go. This is a good view. Up behind the Brazilian. That is Real Deal God. He'll be loving life at the minute, or being very stressed. Because, you know, it's... I mean, we make a big deal about it, how being, you know, situation. Like I've been saying in other rounds, it's great to have the pro eSport guys turn up, like Hillebrand, like Simoncic, like Enzo Fazzi in a couple of other rounds, and not try hard it, just treat it as it is, a bit of fun. And everyone's having fun, not taking it too seriously, and having some great racing as a result. As we've been told that Declan and Moralato are in the pits for repairs, barely 2 laps into this race.
Well, Le Grand taketh and Le Mans giveth and it taketh away, and at the moment, at least Real Deal God's having a bit more opportunity of just leading the field, unlike what we saw 2 rounds ago. But this is a nice little battle. This will be for in the 3 litre class, the Mighty D running in the Maserati, showing up in around about 2nd position. But yeah, I think. I mean, Nico Hillebrand normally runs with Biela Racing Euronics in the RCCO World EX Championship. So, and again, someone who's competed in rounds over the course of this this championship, not being round for all of them, because he's also doing economics as a at university as a student. But still, to see him competing in these old school cars is quite a nice joy to see.
Yeah, I suppose it's the Christmas holidays for any students on the grid, so they're able to join in, not have to worry about doing anything for the next couple of weeks. So, yeah, I mean, my wife's a school teacher and they broke up yesterday, so you know you're in that final stretch between now and New Year. Which, where has 2022 gone? We've had some great eSport racing in 2022, and it's going to continue into 2023. It's in January. It will be the Virtual Le Mans finale. Hopefully Max Verstappen doesn't bottle it again. We get to see him in there for more than a few hours. But Salami, everybody's favourite sandwich filling, in 4th position in the 2 litre class. We're looking at him being chased by Reese Gardner, Southpaw racer. probably probably 1 o'clock in the morning for him right now. So
Yeah.
great dedication to the cause.
Yeah.
And
Just
like
had
from that angle
notification.
from that angle as well, it doesn't look like the track we're used to, probably because it's not the track we're used to.
Yeah, Austin Birchfield, we've just been informed, is also DNF, was third in pre-qualifying in the Mercedes-Benz 300 SL, the 286. Ziedler, leading the 3-litre class, sets the fastest lap in the class, 4 minutes 6.490. Ziedler was actually fastest in pre-qualifying with the 4 minute 3.8. So, but also they've got to conserve they've got to look at the fuel strategy on this, because going out for qualifying and pre-qualifying, completely different kettle of fish altogether, as we both know, Aidan. And the racing is where lap times sometimes are not the most important thing in a race of this stature.
No, especially at a track like this, because the car's going to be very, very heavy with fuel. This is all simulated as part of R Factor 2. The more fuel you put in, the slower you're going to be. So acceleration out of Tetra Rouge, top speed on the Mulsanne, it's all going to be affected. Braking into some of these corners is going to be affected. But as that fuel wears off, they will go a little bit quicker. You'll see the lap times drop. And they're all on bias ply tyres as well, so as they do the little kangaroo hop on the Mulsanne. I'm glad they painted all the trees white as well, so you could see them at night. It's, like I say, we're looking at 2022 eyes.
Yeah.
But if you went there, if it looked like this today, you'd go, no, I'm not racing on that.
It's like, hell no. It's like, I won't touch that with the barge pole. I'm off. See ya.
Jackson Robillard in behind Jernej Simoncic. Ferrari versus Ferrari. He's not making a move because he's trying to save fuel. And if you save a bit of fuel when you come in for your pit stop, you have less time because you don't have to fill up as much. So, here we go.
Schneider's going around the outside. Hello. Diego Schneider in the 174 Jaguar D-Type. That's allowed, I mean, with the way that Real Deal God's just canted off into the lead, he's got about a 4-second advantage over Jernej Simoncic. But this is bringing back Robillard, Schneider, who was looking around the outside going into Mulsanne corner. Nico Hilbrand's not too far off from this, about 1.1 seconds behind. So, yeah, it seems to be a pretty even mix in the top 5 between Ferrari and Jag at the moment.
Yeah, it is. We've figured out over the course of the season that the Ferrari is a little bit better in the top speed department, but the Jag's a bit better on the brakes. And the way the straights and heavy braking zones sort of equal out at this particular type of track, it has made them very, very equal. As we've got this sort of group here of Simoncic, Robillard, Schneider, and Hillerbrand, all for second place. As we see the 100 car of Jake just sliding out of Indy as they come up to Enage, and then make the run towards the final few kinks before the start-finish line. There's Jake drifting on camera.
Like and he was doing it, yeah, like 100.
and then make their way towards the end. So Jake's, as it stands, not going to win the championship. It's currently in the hands of Jernej Simoncic. But anything can happen in the next 1 hour and 48 seconds. So 1 hour and 48 minutes and 30 seconds.
Yeah, I mean, looking back at the 3-litre classes, Mark Zeidler's got a pretty good lead over Ujasu in the Gordini by about 2.4 seconds. Oh my goodness me. Jackson Robillard had that car's backside out waggling away whilst trying to close in on Jernej Simoncic, and now as they come across the start-finish line and head up into Dunlop Corner, that Jag just really seems to be and again, even with looking at it with 2022 eyes, even with these 1950s cars here, Aidan, you're still going to get that dirty wash of air behind the car that you're chasing. That's exactly what Jackson Robillard's having to struggle with at the moment.
Yeah, especially into these sorts of corners here, because I mean, it does help that the camber is such that it is banked, so that does help the cars a little bit. Is he going to try and make a move into Tetra Rouge? No, he's still hanging behind Simoncic here. But this is just allowing Real Deal God to pull away. But I guess for Robillard not in the championship fight, Simoncic is in the championship fight. Real Deal God's got zero chill and has just gone off into the distance while everybody else is having a nice little scrapping behind. Now, I think we're going to have constant scrapping throughout all of this race. You look at the
three wide.
Here we go.
Wide there going into Dunlop.
Salami.
Oh dear.
I was just about to say Salami was only about, what, 0.09 of a second off overtaking whoever it is in front of him, Hammer. So like I say, everyone's battling, everyone's fighting. We might as well have had an Indy 500 at this point.
Yeah. And they're both in the Maserati AG A6 GCS. So 358 playing 304 for third overall at the moment. The Mighty D is about 1.4 seconds up the road. And the 2-litre class is definitely the... it's a couple of Bristols in there, but it's mainly become... I think we joked about this a couple of months ago, that the 2-litre class is definitely the Maserati Cup.
Well, this is one of the rules that has been in play throughout the whole season, is that once you've picked a car and you qualify for a race, you can only use that car if you come back for the next round. It's to stop that typical... I mean, you see it in other sims, don't you? It's like, okay, the Merc is the best car at this track. The Lambo is the best car at this track. The BMW is just OP. I'm just going to use that as... Whoa! There we go. That was a bit of a wiggle. Diego Schneider, I think, is just about to put himself in the lead. So Real Deal God lost a lot of time. No, he didn't. I'm looking at the wrong person. Real Deal God's gone. Right, we'll forget about him. I'll put a post-it note over his name. He's gone off into the distance. 7 seconds to the good. It's Schneider, Simoncic, Hillebrand, and Robillard that we need to concern ourselves with. So that was Schneider that was getting all that was. Sorry, it was Hillebrand that was getting all over the shop. Schneider's gone back into second place. You then got Robillard right at the back of this queue. Simoncic is now in third. Are you keeping up, ladies and gentlemen at home?
That sounded like a tongue twister when you were trying to say all their names in one fell swoop there, Aidan.
Englishman destroys foreign words. Are you surprised?
No, because that's a running gag with us British sim racing commentators. But yeah, now we see the Jaguar pull away from the Ferrari quite easily, and that gap has extended to 6.5 tenths of a second as we got the lovely picture-in-picture shot. And this is one of the shots that we tend to like, that we were sort of drooling over at Dundrod, weren't we? You know, the driver viewpoint, and yeah, that just goes to show how quickly the Jaguar can pull away from the Ferrari. So in terms of the pure waft, the pure grunt, the Jaguar has the advantage, but the Ferrari, I mean, look how fast Jernej Simoncic is closing on Diego Schneider, and now is pulling along behind him, so he's getting the bump draft going over the start-finish straight. And they've gotten away from Hillebrand and Robillard at the moment in the battle for P2.
Yeah, Real Deal God sets the fastest lap overall of a 3:53. And just looking at this view that we've got of Simoncic here, the driver's wearing no gloves.
Yep.
He's wearing, let's be honest, he's wearing a horse racing hat. He's got a pair of sunglasses on to stop stuff. But I recently had the experience of being taken around Silverstone in a Radical, and I didn't have gloves on. I had a full face crash helmet, I had the hands device, I had the bally, but it was raining, and getting hit in the hands by pieces of rain, it was like I was being shot at, and it hurt. So what? I can't imagine like these guys getting out of the cars, and they must have had welts all over their hands from stones and bits of rubber. And why did they put themselves through it?
I don't know. They had stones.
They did, yeah.
Stones.
They did.
Not stones being thrown at them, folks.
There is a fine line between brave and crazy, isn't there?
Yes.
Jumping out of a tree, that's not brave.
That's just stupid.
That is not Sisu.
Well put.
Simoncic still holding the slipstream. I mean, it must look boring for people that aren't really familiar with this kind of racing, but I mean, Alain Prost was able to win 51 Grand Prix by driving the bare minimum, so
yeah,
Jernej Simoncic can do it too.
Yeah, and Schneider's probably well, they're coming up amongst back marker traffic, and that's going to, again, I mean, that's within 18 minutes. And under braking, Schneider gets the back end all happy. And Guy Ledios is now gone into the wall, and he has been the latest casualty. The 258 in the 3-litre class with the Gordini T24S, so that's another casualty. I wonder how many people have had wheels dismembered from their wagon. We haven't seen that many of them, because the racing in this particular event here, Aidan, has been a lot more, I wouldn't say the word calm, I would say it's been a lot more constructive, to be honest.
I don't know if it's because people know the track, if that makes any sense. Obviously, it's a slightly different layout. I mean, there's also a historic Monte Carlo in R Factor 2, which is absolutely brilliant. I suggest that people go and try that out in the 1966 Brabham that's available as stock content. You sort of know it from the modern games and things like that, but then you just have to adapt to, okay, this corner's slightly different, this corner's slightly different. So I think they just know it a little bit better than they did, say, Longford or Isle of Man or Dundrod. So they've kind of got the experience of driving here without the experience of driving here, if that makes any sense, because it's a very, very popular and very well-travelled track. If that... You know where I'm coming from with this?
Yeah. Oh, real deal. God.
Almost Charles bottled it.
Oh, goodness. He would have... that would have been...
He would never have lived that down.
No. No, I don't think so.
You know who else crashed out of Le Mans at the final corner? It was Max Verstappen.
Mm-hmm. Wasn't that on the same event that he got beaten by just 1/1000th for pole position?
It was, yeah.
That same year.
I mean, there's also Toyota breaking down. Trigger warning in the audience.
Yeah, don't mention it to Kaz Nakajima. That's all I'm saying on that one.
Where's his Twitter?
I can feel my ears burning with Aidan scrambling on the keyboard frantically right about now. But yeah, I mean, just looking back at all three classes at the moment, we've got Real Deal God leading by nearly 6 seconds in the 5-litre. Mark Zeidler leading Rujasu by nearly 7.8 seconds, and Oskari Kantonen leading Salami by over 6.1 seconds in the battle for the 2-litre class victory. But yeah, still pretty good that they're keeping it. You know, there's been a lot. I mean, there's a lot of people getting a bit too close to that grass for my liking, though, Aidan.
Nakajima's 2016 Le Mans victory is next to his 2009 F1 points. 0. People can be brutal on the internet, can't they?
They can. They can.
I was going to pick up on a point that you just made, but my train of thought has been neutered slightly. Can't remember what it was now.
In the meantime, yeah, Aurelian Hamart trying to still close on Sal Army for P2 in the class we affectionately call the...
That was it. The pseudonyms people have been using. We've had Sal Army, we've had Charles Leclerc, we've had a good... I mean, I would have raced as the Hungarian racing sensation Made Up Nem. That would have been mine, but yeah,
and I think,
they were quite common, these pseudonyms, especially if it was people from aristocratic families, because they didn't want their parents to know that they were racing, and they didn't want to get cut out of the family inheritance because it was too dangerous and things like that. Can't remember, I think was it Wolfgang von Trips did it?
Yeah,
that wasn't his real name, and a few others. So I think it was Jochen Rindt used his inheritance because he was orphaned, and he spent that on racing. So if you could, you would, wouldn't you?
It's like Jimmy Broadbent using Jamel Wangelborg on a lot of the leagues that he does, for instance, and like he would just go, "Yep, Jamel's back." But it's also, it gets quite comedic at times, doesn't it, as well?
Yeah, especially if you come up with a very clever one, because people are going to talk about it, and you're going to get on the stream more often.
Yeah, including a particular driver in the DTM, John Winter, and that was actually not his real name. It was It was another. It was another pseudonym.
Johnny Dumfries as well.
Yep. Yeah. Yeah. John Windsor actually, his original name was Louis Cargas, so who competed all the way through. Who competed in the well, if anyone might remember a particular crash in the DTM in the mid 1990s, Danny Juicer, a good friend of mine, was actually there and saw it happen. His Opel Calibra, run by the great Keke Rosberg, got yeeted and literally went into a fireball.
Oof.
Yeah.
So the only massive touring car crash that ever gets played is Tarquini at Knockhill in '94 with the illegal Alpha. Still bitter about that.
Mm-hmm. With the iconic words of the late Murray Walker saying, "It's Tarquini."
How did that happen? Well, he rolled it, Murray. Actually, a lot of it was him commentating on highlights, so it wasn't as in the moment as people think it was. He carefully. So I'm going for first as John Cleland. That was pretty much scripted, rather than an in the moment thing. So it's kind of like finding out that wrestling is fake, isn't it? I've just taken the magic off it.
Well, nice move by Rajasu to get up into second position. And that was on Woodcock, Richard Woodcock, who was actually second in pre-qualifying, by nearly a second behind Mark Ziedler. Ziedler's just absolutely romped away with this one in the 3-litre class. I think also we've had our first pit stop through the Mighty D in the 2 litres.
Yeah, Real Deal God's leads dropped off a little bit. It's sort of shrunk by about 2.5 seconds. It's down to 4.8. So probably the car just needing to adjust a little bit as the fuel's burning off. I think they have got like 3x fuel and 2x tyres on, something like that. So they will have to stop. So they will have to make at least 2 pit stops, which is why you see them saving as much fuel as they possibly can to shorten that fuel fill at the pit stops. Maybe gain, even if it's only a couple of tenths, it can make the difference come the end of the race. So Silver Wolf fighting with Rhys Gardner up ahead of them. Another battle around the outside of the Dunlop chicane.
Salami.
I think that scared him a little bit.
I think he might need to check his underwear after the pit stop. After that one's like, oh, I didn't want to go that wide. Everyone hops onto the Mulsanne.
Literally hopped on the Mulsanne. Great sounding cars as well.
Yeah, Richard Woodcock's just taken second place back off of Rujasu, going onto the Mulsanne. So nice little battle for second in the class, even though Mark Ziedler's gone up the road to about the tune of 8.8 seconds. That gap, you were mentioning about it just a second ago, between Real Deal God and Diego Schneider, Aidan, has, did drop at one point to its lowest it's been since the beginning of this race, to about 3.8 seconds. But now with the power on that Jaguar, he's now extended that back up to probably another further second, so getting close to 4.8 is the lead between Real Deal God and Schneider at the moment in the overall classification.
See some more flip-flopping of positions if Rhys Gardner has his way. Chasing Silver Wolf, only about a tenth behind. Driving in the Australian colours of basically British Racing green and gold. It's almost like a posh Norwich City he's driving. The colours of Jack Brabham.
Yep, currently used by the esports team run by Son David nowadays.
I know nothing about them.
But like the one in Deeg Edwards saying, did you ever watch the clip of Murray commentating on snooker when on Clarkson's chat show? Yes, and it was priceless.
Simoncic looking to take third place back from Nico Hillebrand. These two know each other pretty well from doing the R Factor 2 stuff. Just out having a bit of a laugh on the Saturday afternoon. As they boing onto them all once again.
Yeah,
Again, it's basically R Factor 2's version of netcode. Just pretend it's not there.
That could be a pretty good HRRC meme, couldn't it?
Silverwolf's
boinging onto the mole's down. Oh, and Silverwolf's just DNF'd in the 2-litre class, so not too sure what happened to him.
We'll try and grab a replay of that if we can, because we know people love to see the wipeouts.
Yep.
Oskari Kantonen, to the shock of literally nobody, has gone fastest in his class. 16.5 seconds over Salami.
Plenty of season.
We need some individual BOP for next season if it happens.
Yeah, he's got to start 5 seconds behind the field for each race. Oh, just like that, Eden, we're a quarter of the way through the race. Just under an hour and a half to go. Simoncic is really trying to put the frighteners on Hillebrand. They know each other, as you said, very, very well, but a tighter line taken into Indianapolis before they head towards...
switch back him into
yeah,
into
I was like thinking, yeah, I was like thinking,
he would.
Oh, yes.
Oh, here's
yes.
Adoro's just smacked a wall as we get a replay of, I'm assuming this is going to be
Silverwolf, I think, yeah.
Silverwolf, yeah. Does he just overcook it into... It's heading towards Indy, is that?
Oh!
Oh!
Are they not
can we get another angle of that, Dan? Because
oh,
I don't know. Did he hit the tree?
Well, he must have done.
Oh, he did hit the tree. I hope he wasn't on a direct drive.
Oh, dearie me.
If you hit a wall, or you know you're going to a wall in R Factor 2 and using a direct drive, take your hands off the wheel, because it will snap and it hurts.
Yep.
I actually, because I use a Formula rim and it's got like pointy ends on the bottom. It spun around, it cracked on the top of my hand, and it was bruised for a couple of weeks. It really hurt.
Yeah. Simoncic trying to sweep wide going through Dunlop on Hillebrand, as there is the yellow out in Sector 1. Yeah, they all seem... Dion Hansen's gone off the track as well. So plenty of attrition now starting to affect the ranks, I think, here, Aidan.
Yeah, I mean, this is another thing that happens with these cars. The brakes will overheat and they lose their braking performance. And if you've got the blanking a bit too high, it could be something that's happening, especially as Jaguari, or Jaregui, so I apologise, has copped himself a penalty, probably for track limits or something similar.
And that's normally regulated by the server anyway, so...
Yeah, it is.
Oh, 30-second penalty for Isidoro. Avoidable contact for rear-ending Dion Hansen.
Oh, okay. Ian Munro, you cheeky little devil.
Yes.
Doing it yourself with server commands. Show off.
There's always one, isn't there?
Ah, dear. He thinks he's Jimmy Allison, bless him.
He's not thinking he's Eduardo Freitas, is he?
No, more Michael Mazzi. He's going to rig it for Jake to win it in the last 5 minutes.
Yeah, then all of a sudden, you know, you'll get a penalty for doing absolutely nothing wrong.
Well, like Montoya did at Indianapolis in 2003, was it?
Oh, yes.
Got smashed into by Barrichello, and oh yeah, it's Montoya's fault. What? Yeah. Oh dear. Jackson Robillard up the back bottom of Jacob Desmarais. We'll use his proper French name as he's in France. Speaking of France, Erwan Bergier in his Gordini. He's trying to make a move on Johnson for 4th in that 3 litre class. But there's a nice little train there, so we'll have to keep an eye on that. It's one car getting a little bit offline and then getting a bit slidey. I like how also it took nearly half an hour to give that penalty out. So yes, he is Eduardo Freitas. Or the F1 stewards. And Isidoro is now DNF'd.
Oh dear.
He'd rather die than take that penalty. We'll see if we can get a replay of his DNF there. The top 3 has been filled by the Jags. Real Deal Gods lead slowly coming down. Schneider 3.5 behind. Hillebrand 5.8 behind. Well, he's 5.8 behind Schneider, I should say, and then Simoncic just about a quarter of a second behind Hillebrand, and then Jake 10.5 behind them. So as YouTube chat is debating on the correct pronunciation of Simoncic. Tom Lane in the wall. That will be the reason for these yellow flags, I think.
Oh.
Oh, there we go. That's just like someone just randomly joining the race.
It's like a continuing on 3 wheels apparently, courtesy of Ian Monroe. Oh, and that is a whoops.
That's not good. That's where is that? Is that? I want to say that's Arnage. Yeah, I think that's Arnage that he's just come out of. Going for the Michael Schumacher strat. Or the Lewis Hamilton at Silverstone strat.
Oh, it happened. Yeah, I think.
Yeah, it happened at Indy, so yeah, that was Arnage that he's just come out of. Mr. Magoo has been promoted into 5th in the 2 litres. Nate Cowan here in the Bristol.
Oh, Hillebrand and Simoncic are literally still with each other right now. Yeah, he's not been able to get past him, but Jake's now, I think Jake's now up into P5, so this makes the championship even more exciting, doesn't it?
Yep. So I think as it stands, Jake has got the title, but still got just under an hour and a half to do what they got to do. So we're approaching the 40-minute mark here. Pit stop should be happening in a bit.
Oh, yellow out in sector 3.
Yep.
Wondering if that's happened possibly maybe at Arnage or maybe at Maison Blanche or possibly Indy.
Speaking of the first pit stops, Oskari Kantonen, Alberto Oskari himself is in the pits. So the way this will work in R Factor 2 is they will dive into the pit lane to the right of that yellow line and then pull into their pit box. And unlike in other simulations on the market, there is collisions in the pit lane in R Factor 2. So if they try to drive through people to get to their box, or their box is filled, they are they are in trouble because they will damage their cars.
Great little battle here. Now, this is for the de facto class lead at the moment because Kantonen's still in the pit lane, but Hamart's been flirting with the barriers and is sideways. Oh, dearie me, that was coming towards Tetra Rouge. And Diego Schneider, we've just been informed, has hit the wall. There's a yellow out in Sector 3. That was at Indy, and he's also got 3 wheels on the wagon. And there is said 174 Jaguar. Oh, dear.
Schneider was running right at the top of the standings as well, so we'll see if we can get a replay of what happened to him, because I can't recall if he was fighting with anybody at any point. So this puts Jake into 4th. Simoncic holding ahead of him. Hillebrand has dropped off from the back of Real Deal God, as it so happens, so that gap's gone back up again. So unless Real Deal God's just pumping in some fast laps before he pits. There we go, he's pitted. I am so good at this.
Speak of the devil, and he doth dive into pit lane. But Salami still having to battle away with Aurelien Hamar for the lead in the 2-litre class. When you just did the Kota meme a bit earlier on in the broadcast, like, meow, that's exactly what we're getting right now with these 2 litres. They're like little buzzing hornets, aren't they?
They're kind of like someone described them as being like a Kink song. That
Really?
wasp trapped in a tin can sound that the
yeah.
Kinks had back in the 60s. It's kind of like that, but turned up to 11.
Yeah. Oh, another yellow out in Sector 1. It's now been retracted. There you go, folks. Some wasps in a can ASMR there for you.
So this is a replay of Diego heading towards Indy. And he's just overshot it.
It's like which circuit is it? Oh well, he's still got 3 wheels, 4 wheels on the car, and then the wheel just gives way after that.
Yeah, I think there's a bit of a. I think it's just the way the replays in R Factor 2 render themselves. So he's basically overshot the kink and just smacked into that embankment, and then let's just rip the wheel off as the alert goes fastest in the 3-litre class. 17 seconds to the good against Rajasu.
It's a bit like Turn 8 at Adelaide for V8 for Australian supercars.
Oh yeah.
You get it wrong and you're in the wall. And as Mr.
Good
Schneider
thing those things
out,
are right-hand drive, isn't it?
yeah.
So we're just making moves now. So Real Deal God must have entered the pit lane.
Yeah.
So Hillebrand leading barely from Simoncic. Hillebrand hasn't wrapped it round a tree yet, which is encouraging. There's a few jokes going on in Discord that Nico will have it wrapped around a tree. And if he's streaming this as well, guaranteed he's wearing his goggles, his hat, and his polo shirt. Proper roleplay.
Oh, what, on Twitch? If that's the case, then I'm just going to see if I can find it and have a look and laugh at his expense, of course.
Gonna have to put the lights on in here. It's getting a bit dark.
Yeah. Yes, and it is confirmed. He's with the full-on chin strap as well. Absolutely brilliant. Oh. Cosplay in sim racing at its finest.
Saying that, I know a guy who's got himself a full race suit of the esports team he drives for. So some people have either got more money in sense or they take it very, very seriously. As Simoncic brings his Ferrari into the pit lane, or stopped a bit too early, gets it into the box, and he'll get that thing serviced. So that put so Hillebrand, Simoncic, Jake, and Robillard all in the pit lane here. Morea might also be coming in as well. And if you've got the link there, Alex, if you could just put it into the chat because people want to see that.
Right, well, I've put the link in.
Probably not going to show, is it? Oh, there we go. What a champion.
With the full-on chin strap as well. Moralato spun coming onto the Malzahn, apparently.
That's amazing.
Oh, that's brilliant. Just for giggles. Oh, and this battle's still going on in the 2-litre. Or the Maserati Cup.
Probably getting instructions from Le Bono that it's hammer time. Pete Bonington, hon hon.
Le Bono, my tires. Oh, and Jernej's got a problem, I believe. He's continuing, but very, very slowly, apparently, thanks to our... And he's got three... has he got 3 wheels? No, he hasn't. I'm wondering if there's a problem on that front for him, because it's a bit of a disaster for Jernej. Oh, now, did he have a problem with fueling up?
That's what it was saying when it... He's driving around with virtually no fuel in the tank, isn't he? This might hand Jake the title, you know.
Yep. Matty Sinclair saying...
Yeah, when we went on to Nico's stream, it was saying that it wasn't giving him a pit service.
Oh dear.
And that's what it looks like on the M1 when you got a BMW flying past you.
When you've gone from a 60 to a 50 speed limit.
Not so smart motorways.
Yeah, because as soon as you jump onto the M1, it's always when you see variable speed limit now active, and you're like, oh god, really? And then as soon as it goes, variable speed limit ends here, like everyone's like, Ray! Oh, Mats has just put on the chat, did he do the Delatraz and forget to pay his crew? That's harsh.
Was that Jean Denis or Louis?
Possibly.
So Owen Bourgier's going slowly as well. Has he had the same problem as Jernej?
Right.
Or was he being lapped? He just looked like he was going very, very slowly, and then no, he sped up again. As Morea brings his car in.
So does Magoo. Magoo's just been in there for about 43 seconds, and I think he's just leaving the pit lane. Well, we haven't seen much of Scooby in this race, though, have we? In the
No, we
5
haven't.
litre class. He's now. And there is Real Deal God. He got very, very close. That was to, I think that's one of the 500 cars that was coming through, one of the Mercs, possibly. Mr. Rondini's just saying in chat, Jacob said that if you cross the white line by just an inch, you don't get served. Could that have been the issue?
Yeah, these old pit lanes can get quite picky about entering because of the way they're programmed.
And already the Ferrari jokes are coming out from Jernej. Did the Ferrari. Nice one. James McHenry, thank you very much for that.
Was it Eddie Irvine, 1999 European Grand Prix when they... well, it was Luxembourg Grand Prix back then.
Yep.
Where they had a committee meeting. Are we putting this wheel on or not?
Just stick it on and send him out, was Martin Brundle's quip in the commentary, if I remember correctly. Just stick him out there. Stick it on there. Don't have a debate. Just stick it on there and send him out. I still remember when, what was it, Michael Schumacher actually managed to win a race in the pit lane, didn't he?
Yeah. 1998. Silverstone.
Yep. Oh, Moralato's had another drama. He's just spun off at Indy. Unfortunately, Moralato can't blame that one on Mattia Binotto. Oh, and there is the... And that is Moralato. What a place to spin it as well.
It's just before Arnage, isn't it?
Yeah.
That's been a good turnaround for Jake. He's now in third after being quite far back.
Yeah.
Hashtag blessed with that Hamilton luck.
Jernej has made it back to the pit lane, folks. So hopefully this time he gets
It's going to be a
serviced.
lap down when this is all done. 190 seconds.
Yeah. That is if they're running, what was it Real Deal God was doing earlier on? He was doing 353s, 354s, so that is that is gonna smart for Jernej after what's just happened.
I was at a LAN event for a 24-hour. Well, it was technically a 25-hour race because the clocks went back halfway through,
Oh God!
and a car hadn't put enough fuel in, and it had to drive around on the pit limiter around the track to get back to the pits. And when they did, you just heard this audible "way" from the back where all the teams were. So everybody had a good joke about it.
Oh, yeah. I always hate it when you have that kind of event on a weekend where the clocks go back and you just like think, well, welcome back. It's 2 o'clock, and it's like, and then your mind tries to compute. Hang on a second, we just said that an hour ago.
Well, we'd been up. We were up for like a stupid amount of time because that morning we'd watched England play. It's like England play South Africa or New Zealand in the Rugby World Cup.
Oh yeah.
So we got up to watch that, then did the 24 hours, and then watched the Mexican Grand Prix. So we were just dead.
Oh, I Godfather.
Yeah, Daniel's saying, yeah, I remember the South African. Imagine thinking that rugby's a real sport.
Oh, you went there.
And cricket.
Oh, yeah, I think we've had further news of another person that has decided to spin at Mulsanne, and that was Declan. Brush overshot it and then spun. Oh, and now the question, league or union, now drops in the chat, Aiden.
Now it's on video for when Aiden says I got to witness England win 2 World Cups. Yes, I did. Unfortunately, it was the Rugby and Cricket World Cups.
Oh, no.
Counts. It's coming home.
Mm. The percentage chance with saying that on those particular events does help to increase the chances of that happening.
Seeing the 5 litres just pass the other classes like they're not even there.
Yeah, that was Real Deal God going past the 386 of Morilato.
Can you imagine Jake putting together the highlights of this? I was like, oh, I can't use that. They're talking about cricket. Can't use that. They're talking about rugby.
I haven't made any basketball or baseball references yet. No, we won't.
Go
To each their
Blue
own.
Jays. And the Bruins. Just as a quick note, Maria hasn't been in the pits for 7 minutes and 27 seconds. That's just the broadcast graphics having a bit of a moment. We'll just turn them off and turn them back on again. There we go.
The Control Alt Delete button setup has been used, folks.
F5.
Damn it.
That's actually a good point. There is no battles. Liam spun and continued, apparently. At Indy. People are going off at Indy. Is there some oil down there or something? As Star Factor 2 had an update that we don't know about.
Get the Mulsanne hop. We've got the oil slick at Indy. Where's the slippery surface flags? They didn't have anything like that back then.
That's actually an idea for a video. When were these flags first used? I'll note that down for Monday. And then I'll completely forget about it and do something like how fast can a modern Formula 1 car lap? I don't know. The Norris ring.
Bloody hell. We get the Mario Kart references. No oil, just a strategically placed banana peel. Who's got the invisibility stars on standby then?
One more bar and I've got to pay for the song.
Oh, damn it.
Well, technically it's parody, so it's fair use. So
Yeah. That's why whenever I work with David Christie and I go, David, have you got the Jaws music on standby? And he'll just he'll just do it vocally.
the Tramsers having a quiet race there in 5th in 3 litres. This is probably the closest battle we've got on track right now. The Gordini T24S model. And chasing down the 218 on the run between what appears to be Mulsanne and Indy.
Oh, we could see a moment where our 2 main championship protagonists might be, well, one might be lapping the other very shortly, and that's Jake closing on Jernej.
Jake closing on Jernej to lap him.
There they are.
We'll just pretend that it's for position.
Yep.
In fact, I've only ever seen Jernej Simoncic have one bad race because of, I wouldn't say skill issue, just like a bad race in general. That was Formula Pro at Laguna Seca earlier this year. This time it's been because of a glitch in the matrix, but sort of deprived us of a race for the championship. But as Iona Albuquerque says, he could just do this Michael Schumacher way and just take him out, but that would mean that Jake wins the championship. So
yeah, because
there's a bit of a flaw in your little plan there.
You've hit him in the wrong place.
That didn't work, Michael. You hit the wrong part of him, my friend. Martin Brundle said while smiling with glee. Although, yeah, they will have to respect blue flags here, so
yes,
he'll have to sort of allow Jake through without impeding him too much. Probably just like a little bit of a lift of the gas and let Jake through. R Factor 2 will probably start shouting at him.
Oi!
I think there's I don't know if they've changed it, but I think they did change it where it starts showing you the blue flags later rather than sooner, because it will start yelling at you, let this guy through, and then give you a penalty. And it's like, the guy was 5 seconds behind me, so what was the point in lifting off? Jake has got through, though. Case of champagne to Norberto Fontana there. He let the Jag through with no issue. I can imagine on Jake's stream, he's probably thinking, why haven't I gained a place? Does he know?
Is he aware?
So we've just reached the halfway point of this race. Thank you to everybody that's still here and enjoying this afternoon's festivities, wherever you are in the world.
Got a good battle for 4th place though in the 3 litres here, Aiden. With Nitramson right up the back bump of Berguier at the moment.
Matza, you've just jinxed it, man.
Oh no! Oh no, Matsu, what are you like? He put those 2 iconic words in, and then straight away.
Where are the bots? And here they are.
Hashtag blame Matsu on that one. Oh, right. This could be a side-by-side. It will be a side-by-side, and Nitramson's got past for 4th. Nice little use of the side draft there, as well as the slipstream.
Real Deal God still keeping the gap there at 8.5, which is pretty good. And it's Nico, Jake, Jackson Robillard, and Morea. It's basically the Jag show out there at the minute in 5 litre. 3 litres being led by Merckx. And then the 2 litres is basically the Maserati show.
Yeah, and Oskari Sisu Kantonen has got a gap over Salami of 26.5 seconds and climbing. Kind of knew that was going to be a case. I mean, Dundrod was a perfect opportunity for Oskari Kantonen to not only win the class, but also, I think if I remember correctly, Aiden, he actually won the overall race, didn't he?
He did, yeah, because while the 5 litres could grab it all back on the straights, just through the corners. The 2 litres were just superior, and I mean, it's Oskari Kantonen as well. He's just been able to do stuff in that car that nobody else has been able to do. Simoncic in 7th with GP laps in front. Sticking with him though, probably just trying to save fuel. I think the best thing that Jernej can hope for is that Jake or Nico or any of the other drivers fall victim to that same bug he encountered.
Yeah.
In the words of Christian Horner, he needs a miracle.
Eloquently put there. At least there's no multi-21 here.
Look, I told you, you don't do that. I made my position very clear on this.
Talked about it before.
Such a good sounding car, this Ferrari, isn't it?
Oh yeah, lovely.
Imagine what it'd be like with the new sound engine in R Factor 2.
Oh my. Clean up on aisle 3, anyone? Oh, Aurelian's just DNF'd. Hamar, who was battling away with Salami earlier on. That is going to promote Reece Gardner and the Mighty D up to 3rd and 4th.
Hammer out, which is a shame. He's doing quite well.
These two
These
have
two
got
have been going for a while, haven't they?
Yeah, handbags have definitely been out since dawn. And they have been lapped by the race leader, because that was Oskari Kantonen just ahead of them. Or the race leader in 2 litre, I should say.
Class leader. Ooh, okay. Disco fever for Hammer then, as we're getting through our ears. I think I've just heard someone spinning in the background. Heard a very, very long screech of tyres.
Oh.
Unless they were just drifting, but...
Oh, Real Deal God's just... Oh, Real Deal God's just gone off at Indy. The first mistake for the 182.
Well, at least he didn't beach it on one of those sand dunes.
Yeah, or one of the grass verges.
I know, Dave Edwards, it's quite a shock that someone spun at Indianapolis in this race.
You think? Well, that was a lovely panoramic helicopter shot we just saw just then as Real Deal God goes grass tracking again, and there's Nico Hillbrand, and again! Oh no, Real Deal God is off! And he's collected the 218, and that was Toby Johnson in the 3 litre class, and there is 3 wheels on that wagon. Oh dearie me, Real Deal God has got it all kinds wrong. Oh dear.
That is suboptimal, as they say.
That means Jake's going to get second.
Now.
Yep.
Still 25 seconds behind Hillebrand, though.
Real deal. God must be counting his lucky stars, because at least he was quite close to the pit lane entry anyway.
So this is the accident that caused Hillebrand to gain on Real Deal Gold on the run down towards Indianapolis here. So you just overcook it. He's on the he's on the inside. Oh, yeah. I think he was trying to lap Reese Gardner and overcooked it. Don't know if that messed up his suspension or his toe or anything like that. Got the car crabbing a little bit. 216 is in behind, and then it went the way we saw it happen. So at least Simoncic is going to get a lap back with the amount of time that Real Deal Gold's going to be spent in the pit lane.
Yeah, I noticed in the replay that it looked like the right rear was locking up quite significantly for Real Deal God, and that's when he went straight on at Indy. So I think it's probably about 150 meter board. I think he just realised, oh, I've just outbraked myself, and has just gone literally pedal to the floor, and yeah, it's just gone all kinds of wrong.
We'll try and get a replay of the other incident just to see exactly what happened. So Jake sort of stayed in it. He was off the timing screens for a long time, and now he's in second place. So we'll probably speak to Jake at the end of the race as we hit the final 50 minutes. Heelan towing it into Mulsanne here. It's a completely different corner now, isn't it?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so we're just about to see what happened with Real Deal God. He's in the sort of green and purple car here. Cut the grass. And then was just tagged. So did the car not turn in properly because of the damage, and then... Okay, so there's nothing malicious in that.
No.
I think that's an accident that could have happened at any point during the 1950s.
Yeah.
And it was definitely a disco for Aurelian, so not great.
Yeah, considering he was running as high up at one point in P2 whilst battling away with Cell Army. And yeah, I think we were both of the same opinion that that incident between Real Deal God and Toby Johnson, that was just a sheer racing incident, both going for the same bit of real estate, and it just happened.
Fuel saving from Simoncic, you can just hear him lifting out. Less air resistance on the car. Therefore he can use less fuel while driving at the same sort of speed. Track will be rubbering in as well as time goes by. I don't know if they've put a rubber preset on, but the dynamic rubbering system of R-Factor 2, which is one of my favourite features of the sim actually. It's just that the more you drive, the more it rubbers up, the more grip you get, faster you go. Just like in real life.
Yeah. I think we're probably not too far away from those second round of pit stops, I would believe, Aiden.
Third if you're Jernej Simoncic.
Well put.
I only deal in facts. Natramzan and Rajasu, I think, is... oh, sorry, yeah. With another... There's one of the Mercedes cars in behind.
Well,
They're still going at it, these two.
Yeah, they've got Declan Brush and the 290 Mercedes just behind them.
Apparently it's the 4th time they've swapped position in this race, so they're probably enjoying themselves. So there's no sort of... I don't think they're not in a Discord voice chat, so they're not working together. They're enemies on track, but they'll probably have a good laugh about it after the fact. Maria in 4th, up against Jackson Robillard. Slipstreaming up the Mulsanne, coming up to Mulsanne corner. I'll have to try and get pulled up without ramming into the back of anybody else that's in the immediate vicinity here. The Belgian following the American. The British Racing Green Jag. So the cars painted as they would have been in the 1950s, using manufacturer colours or national colours, or a mix of both. So you could have a British Racing Green Jag with an Italian red stripe on it, or something to that effect, or the colours of your city, the colours of your county. It's, you know, there's none of these over-the-top esports liveries going on. Make it look as realistic as possible, as immersive as possible. Yellow in Sector 1. This car's come through Indy here. Marilato spun. That was the reason for that yellow flag, apparently.
Oh, 3rd time's the charm then for Marilato. That's 3 spins he's had this race, I think.
Frank Verplanken in 5th in 2 litres. 8 seconds behind Andrews, who is 30 seconds behind Gardner, who is 22 seconds behind Army, who is 36 seconds or 37 seconds behind Kantonen. So that 2 litre car's very, very spread out.
Especially now we've got a Bristol 450 in 4th place. I think that's the first time this race we've actually seen a Bristol in the top 5 in the affectionately Maserati League. Affectionately called Maserati League by us, I think, through the majority of this season. But Robillard cutting the grass twice in rapid succession, going through Maison Blanche. But Moret was right up his exhaust pipes at one point, but now that gap has expanded to about 1.6 seconds. Reece Gardner in 3rd place now into pit lane. What could be... Well, we've got another yellow out in Sector 1. So there seems to be a yellow out in Sector 1 or Sector 3 for the majority of this race, as we see Morea do the Mulsanne hop. Now is 2.5 seconds behind Jackson Robillard. And there... Oh, Eduardo Beninca has just DNF'd as well. And actually, he was the reason for the yellow in Sector 1. Went off and, yeah, DNF'd on the spot, unfortunately.
Let's see what's going on in the... So we've got... So, well, Bergier and the Tramzan are fighting once again. I'm just trying to keep up with everything that's going on. So I've got the race on one screen, and I've got Discord up on another screen, where we're basically getting told things that are going on, so we know other bits and pieces. So we've got Ian and Liam telling us what's going on, just in case we can't see, because we can only see what our broadcast director Daniel Costello has put up on our screens for us. So we can always sort of keep you updated. I need more eyes, to be honest, because A lot going on as Bergier is now in 4th, ahead of Netramsen. Slightly pulling away here. So yeah, as the yellow comes out in Sector 3. And it hasn't... Oh, it has cleared now. I don't know what's going on out there at the minute.
That makes 2 of us. There is Jake stuck in the middle of all of that little melee that was going on. And Moret again starting to close back in on Jackson Robillard. Maybe hanging out the back end of the Jag coming through Indy. Heading towards Arnage.
Rajasu, Netramsen, Kantonen all in the pit lane now. So we're definitely in that final pit stop window with just under 40 minutes remaining. You can see the way the pit lane's laid out here. Sort of got the line and then the boxes, no wall. So if there is some sort of accident, then it will be calamitous. Especially with all that oil and petrol and stuff lying around, people probably smoking in there as well at the time, which again, like, why? So, literally playing with fire at that point. Cut back now to Simoncic, still slipstreaming in behind Jake for that mega fuel saving strat.
Yeah, the simplest of 3000 IQ strats right there being employed by Jernej. So right on board with Jernej Simoncic behind Jake, who still holding 2nd position behind Nico Hilbrand, who has gone full on Biggles for today's festivities, like he has done previously here on the Historic Road Racing Championship. The finale, Le Grand. And Jernej currently sitting in 6th position after the drama that we saw a bit earlier on with Real Deal God. Not only hitting the grassy verge, as that's definitely a Valtteri Bottas strat there from Jernej going into Indianapolis. As, oh, Jake getting the tail all sideways and happy. Back in these days, no ABS, no traction control. So it's just about just planting it, hoping that it sticks, and you get the opportunity to put the power down and build some speed, as we're going to see these two guys do now. But at the moment, with just under 37 minutes to go of the finale, Nico Hilbrand leads Jake by 21.6 seconds. And Jernej still using that 3000 IQ strat of fuel saving to its absolute maximum. Mark Seidler leading by 31.5 seconds. It's a Mercedes 1-2 courtesy of Richard Woodcock at the moment. And now, after having done his second pit stop, Oskari Kantonen is about 18 seconds behind Salami. And the good thing is that we've got the Bristol 450 of Darren Andrews, who was 4th in pre-qualifying in the 355. Bristol now currently P3, but expect the orders to change as we've got Frank Verplanken and Rhys Gardner rounding out the top 5 in the 2 litre class. But yeah, no, just you'll be able to hear when he puts down the throttle. He's going to do that now, so they go underneath the bridge. And yeah, I mean, this has just been an interesting race as Marais now pits from 4th place. We see the Mulsanne hop there, Aidan. That's never going to get old. That should be an HRRC meme. Here's the Mulsanne hop here at Le Grand.
It's one way of getting some really cool screenshots. It looks like the car is jumping when really it's not.
Yeah.
Might hear the engine note change in a second as Jernej lifts off the throttle. Or not.
And Oskari's going to take the lead back again in the 2 litre class because Salami has pitted. Some more ASMR there. Just riding aboard with Jernej. That Ferrari sounds mighty though, Aidan, doesn't it?
Well, they all do, to be honest. It's it's a different kind of noise compared to. That's probably because they rev quite a lot lower than those. What do you think of those old Formula One engines at the end of their service history? They were 2.4 litre V8s that rev to 18,000 RPM,
Oh, yeah.
whereas these are 5 litre V8s that rev to probably what 8 or 9, so they're just grunty, which I think sounds better than a screamer.
Still remember when, what was it, they were getting rid of the 2.4 litre V8s, and then everyone in the teams in the Formula One paddock were like just literally de-restricting them and just revving them so they were glowing red hot, weren't they?
Making them play God Save the Queen and stuff, like
Yeah.
like Renault used to.
Yep. Oskari is right on the back bumper of Tramsen there. Yes, and you can hear as they roar past. Well, you hear the wasp buzzing in the can edition from Oskari, and then the rumble of Tramsen going past in the 3 litre.
Probably a point at when they accelerate that they harmonise exactly. Trying to hear it now. No, it's not there. Huge blip there going into Indianapolis from Kantonen.
And what's more interesting, Nico Hilbrand and Jacob just pitted.
Indeed.
Nico's been in the pits for nearly half a minute. It's wonderful hearing all these backfiring noises as they're going down the gears into the braking zone, and then like, you hear this crack of unburned fuel. Wonderful sound.
Hildebrand's now out of the pits. Jernej in. Should be a short fill for him, given that he's been saving fuel for the last half an hour or so. There he is, leaving the pit lane.
Oh, and there's been a problem for Jackson Robillard. Ian Monroe's just told us that he's just overshot his pit box. Whoops.
Well, that's better than not being serviced at all, isn't it?
Yeah.
You would take the second or two loss than have to drive around at 30 miles an hour to make sure you've got enough fuel to get back round again.
That never gets old when those cars go onto the Mulsanne.
So is that the meme of Legrand?
Yeah.
Where it was yellow in Sector 1 at Dundrod.
Yeah. And that was, what was it, when we saw Jackson Robillard actually on his roof with 3 wheels on the wagon, if I remember correctly, in the first 15 or 20 minutes.
It's like, new spine, please.
Yes, I've got a C2 and a C3 fracture. I need a new spine, please. Just like that, with 30 minutes to go. The interesting thing from my perspective, though, Aidan, is that Jake is only 11 seconds behind Nico for the race lead.
Yeah, that gap's come down quite a way, but he's also pulling away from Simoncic.
Now I'm wondering, yeah, because that gap was 11 seconds, it's now gone to 8.5, so has Nico had a bit of a moment? That's what I'm thinking. There is your race leader. Just trying to remember where Nico was actually coming into this final round, because he wasn't able to do some of the races as well, along with Jernej, if I remember correctly, Aiden, like having other commitments elsewhere in other racing series. But I still have to give props to Nico for going full on. You know what? I'm going to call him Nico Biggles Hillebrand from now on. After seeing him rock up in the full gear on Twitch.
Yeah, just as a reminder to anybody that's saying that. Saying that he's if nobody saw it, he's full on cosplaying this. He's wearing there we go, goggles, helmet, chin strap, wheels a bit non-realistic, but
yeah.
If he's underfueled, he'd be like, yeah.
Maybe
also
the Hugo
that,
Boss
but,
polo shirt is.
with the extra fuel,
Well, maybe they would have. That's
Yeah,
that's.
He's gonna be very careful now, I think.
This is what we were talking about earlier with these more pro esport guys treating it as it is, just a bit of fun, and it's always great to see. It should have been a requirement that everybody has to cosplay in some form or another.
I'll have to get them to do that as part of the regulations when another season comes up. It's like, if you are streaming, you have to be in the proper get-up. Period get-up. It's a requirement.
Formula 1 esports, they have to wear the full flameproof suit.
Oh, God.
3 layers of Nomex.
Yeah.
And the helmet. And the hands device.
Oh,
Those things are weird, though.
Oh, yeah.
Like, say, slam on the brakes and your head doesn't go anywhere. It's weird.
I remember, I had a taxi ride in the 2011 BMW M3 GT2 with Dirk Werner back in Lausitz, and I had the full get-up. It was hands device, race helmet, full BMW Motorsport Puma race suit, and it was like 36 degrees Celsius, so the car felt like I was in a Finnish sauna. So I was wondering when Kimi Räikkönen and Heikki Kovalainen were going to appear alongside us.
Matt Wright leaving the pit lane here. So it's one thing that hasn't changed at this track, it's the pit lane exit. It's just quite unfortunate that it spits you back out onto the racing line.
It's like people are just having to go wide just to avoid you.
Could be worse, it could be Donington and Croft, where
Oh,
you're crossing the actual exit to set up for turn 1.
yeah.
Boing.
Welcome everyone to today's Le Grand finale. It's the HRRC hop, skip and a jump at the Mulsanne.
Jonathan Edwards will be turning up in a minute to do the old triple jump.
Now that gap between Nico and Jake seems to sort of like ebb and flow as we've had a yellow ounce in sector 2.
Let me guess, it's at Indianapolis.
Possibly. I'm sure we'll be informed in due course. Deacon was saying, do a mock Mario jump sound the next time. And it was, funnily enough, it was Dion Hansen that just had an off at Indy. A slight off. Thank you, Ian, for keeping us updated. Oh, is someone just...
Has someone else gone off there? I just heard that. I heard that.
Yeah, I was just about to say. I was like thinking, oh, Diego Schneider again.
Doing a drag race up the Mulsanne.
Yeah, he definitely left some 11s behind when he buried the throttle.
I don't even know what the Mario jump sound is. Is that doing? Well, I don't know. That was more the catchphrase buzzer noise.
Well, there's a noise that could be accompanied with Diego at the moment. It's the Family Fortunes buzzer where it goes, you know, on that one.
Replay here of sideways. Presumably getting sideways.
Oh, there's 3 wheels on the wagon as well.
No, yeah. Let's turn it to a Reliant Robin and just...
He's like the Sting in Top Gear.
Yeah. What's it like with the... putting the metal T trays underneath the rear wheels of your Vauxhall Nova in the 80s and just... in the car park.
Yeah. At least you didn't have to worry about tyre wear with that happening. On the freer, I mean. You can see that there's the Jernej Simoncic 3000 IQ strap being pulled by Oskari Kantonen, who's been right behind Nitamsen, who's gone off again. I think this could work to Oskari Kantonen's advantage, even though he's got quite a big one over Salami. Nearly 44 seconds. That's ridiculous.
Scooby in the pit lane for his final stop. Just 22.5 minutes remaining in this race. Flown by.
Be quite interested to see what the lap times from Oskari are in comparison with, like, say, Mark Seidler.
Whee!
Boing.
And then has that position taken back?
Oh, here we go. More side by side. Tramson alongside Oskari Kantonen. wonder how much additional speed Oskari's actually getting from bump drafting the Tramsen down the Mulsanne.
Depends on what his gear is like.
Yeah.
I've just been told that Oskari's average lap time is 4 minutes 7. Zeidler's is pretty much the same.
Oh, God. Oskari's not needed luck this season, he's just had plenty of seesaw.
He's also been the FFF. One of those F's is for very.
Yep. Just sounds better with FFF. Just keeping an eye on the gap between Rajasu and Nitramsen at the moment. That gap is starting to come down a little bit, isn't it? For
Yeah, it is.
3 litre class.
No,
Richard.
that's, no. Sounds heard before disaster.
It was like, oh, and then an expletive of your choice.
I don't think it even got to the expletive. I think you just got to the O, and then maybe the beginning of the F or the sh, but that was it.
Oh dearie me, that was a hard old hit, and looked like the left rear was the well, it wasn't just the wheel, it was the upright that went out as well. So
Probably in real life, you would have probably had no seatbelts. He would have been ejected from that. Just
who needs the button like James Bond in the old DB5 back in the day? It's like, yeah, you haven't got an ejector seat. We've got one already prepared because you're not wearing a seatbelt. Looks like after Real Deal God's massive drama earlier on whilst leading, it's meant that Jernej clawed back up to 6th, but I think Jake now realises, well, with about 18.5 minutes to go, the gap between him and Nico is about 11.8, 11.9 seconds, so he just goes, he'll just have to go, right, I'm in a happy place. I would have loved to win it to cap off the championship in the right way, but second's still going to be a pretty damn good result at the end of it all.
just trying to think, have we had a repeat winner in this series?
I don't know if we have.
I think, did Jernej win it? I think Jernej won at Spa and at Targa. I think that's the only repeat winner we've had. Probably need that double checking.
Well, Jake actually in the 5 litre championship won both at Longford and at Dundrod. Jernej won at Targa and at Spa.
Yeah, I was talking about overall rather than
overall.
by class. Yeah. It's been quite an open championship then, hasn't it? It's not.
It has,
It's not been dominated by anybody, and I guess with the two time trials and Dundrod, that allowed the 2 and 3 litre classes to be able to sort of keep up. So it hasn't been dominated by just the 5 litres either. It's just that in these days, a lot of the tracks were like this, just right foot to the floor, and occasionally slow it down.
I'm just wondering where Oskari is in terms of the overall classification, because he's been doing a really, really good job again, even though not. Yeah, so 12th position, which would put him outside of the points overall. But yeah, we all knew that the 5 litres were going to be busted in terms of the power differential between the 3 classes anyway. That gap for second and 3 litre, Aiden, has got down to just over a second now. It was closer to 1.5. We've got a yellow out in sector number 2.
Yeah, and the Tramsen, it's hovering around that 1 to 1.1 second mark. It's now just gone up to 1.2, back down to 1.1 as they slow up for Indy here. Try and maximise the entry for the second part and then get it up to Arnage, which is the slowest corner on the track, and then have that final blast towards the end of the lap. But Seidler leading that class overall. Leading that class overall, that doesn't make any sense. He's leading that class, and then it's basically just the Gordini Cup in behind him.
Yeah, Mark took the win at the Isle of Man, didn't he, earlier on this season? And Beninka's not going to score because he DNF'd. So it could be the fact that with the way things as they are now with 15 minutes to go, Rujasu could wrap up the title because he was leading ahead of Beninka by 5 points coming into this final round. And neither Rujasu, Beninka, or Zyder did actually race at the Targa Florio, but took only a point, whereas Dion Hansen, who competed in that race, I think it was the only appearance the Dutch driver made, won at Targa Florio in the 3 litre. So yeah, Rujasu is very much on course to wrapping up the 3 litre class title.
This is all once the drop scores have been processed and things like that, just to allow for people to maybe not turn up to a particular round, or if they've got other racing commitments elsewhere. But again, this was a rule that was in place in those days anyway, so proper full-on rule system and rule set. All of the results will be posted to Jake's Discord and to his YouTube community tab and stuff like that. Bit of a slide from Tramsen coming out of the Dunlop chicane towards Tetra Rouge here. Great corner. Doesn't matter what the era. It's probably one of my favourite corners in sim racing as they go over that little jump once again. With 13.5 minutes remaining, so probably another 4 laps or so, maybe.
Oh, and another yellow out in sector 1.
I think the Tramsen is just floating at the very edge of what he can pick up in the slipstream, clawing it in by about 1 millimetre or so for every second he's in, and then it should just start pulling. And I think it is just starting to pull now.
Yeah.
You can see that car in front is getting slightly bigger, isn't it? So he's just entered the toe. Should see that Tramsen, yep, half a second now. 3/10. Might have a run into the next corner. There we go.
He's going for it, yep.
Had to lift though because of the kink and the line that it's required. We should have the braking into Mulsanne corner here if he decides he wants to go full send. No, he's thought better of it. Might have him on the next straight maybe, or on the run to towards the start finish line again.
Yeah, and then they'll have to negotiate their way through Maison Blanche, won't they? That literally nigh on flat out chicane. I mean, now being what, 4/10 behind. He's still in that window. Now that overspeed's starting to happen a little bit here, but they're going to the braking zone.
Not long enough.
No. I think might be better off trying to see whether, you know, he keeps with him, going back onto the Mulsanne again. That'll probably be his best opportunity to get the overspeed on Rajasu for second place in the class.
Might actually be the closest battle we've got on the track, isn't it?
Yeah.
So it was quite close for the first few laps, and now everybody's nicely spread out as mistakes creep in and the pit stop cycles come round and drivers sort of forget where they need to brake with the brakes getting hot and the fuel burning off, and the car handles totally differently. I know Jake's been saying quite a lot that the Jag handles a lot nicer when it's on low fuel versus a full tank. The Tramsen slipstreaming his way up the final straight here. That's a great camera shot.
That's wonderful.
Put a filter on that, it would look almost real. Yeah, I think he's just saving himself for the Mulsanne here, isn't he?
Yeah, he's not going to chance it through Dunlop. Can't chance it through Tetra Rouge, but if he gets a good run coming out of Tetra Rouge, then he'll line it up. He'll tee it up nicely. And he's sticking with Rajasu as we head into the final 10 minutes, battle for P2 in the 3 litre class. Very, very hotly contested. And a little bit closer to the wall by Nitramsen. Might have given him a bit more momentum coming through Tetra Rouge now. I'll head on to the Mulsanne very shortly, but yeah, I think Rajasu knows that there's going to be enough as Oskari Kantonen finished sideways right there, coming through the exit of Tetra Rouge.
If he can Scandi flick anywhere, he will.
Oh yeah, like we saw at Dundrod.
That was great.
Especially with the hairpin that we had as well, which caught out quite a few people.
Here we go then.
Yeah.
There's going to be no stopping this.
No, not at all.
Here comes the Germans. There we go. Nitramsen takes second place in class for now, because you'd think the next time they come round,
Yeah.
or maybe even by the end of this straight, Rajasu will be back in front again, because he'll be having the slipstream now.
Yeah. Oh, definitely. And that overspeed's happening now. I would imagine that Rajasu is going to pull out, and it shows his nose to Nitramsen. The wasp in a tin can sound again. And then the rumbles of the 3 litres.
I'm saying that, he's not going for it, Nitramsen. Not sorry, not Nitramsen, Rajasu.
I think it's just... could have a battle all the way up to the final lap on this one.
Just hearing that the leaders cross the line now, and that being Nico Hillebrand. Estimating 2 more laps here. 3:53 with 8 minutes to go.
Oh, crikey, 3 minutes 53. That's about 1.2. That's about 1.3 seconds off of Jernej Simoncic's best time in pre-qualifying, which is 3 minute 51.7. And that fuel is it's definitely helping that Jaguar be a bit more stable. There is Nico Hillebrand. Been pretty flawless for Mark Ziedler though. He's on course to getting his second win of the championship, having done so back at the Isle of Man at round 3. Rajasu has got past Nitramsen for second position in 3 litre, and that gap has now started to expand to at 1.1 seconds. So Rajasu might have gotten the run on Nitramsen out of that. Well, that would have been out of shot there, Aidan. And Nitramsen again just cutting when she came through Maison Blanche like nobody's business. I mean, everyone seems to be doing a bit of dust kicking up right there, don't they?
They'll have spent a lot of time trying to work out where they can and can't put the car. See where the track limits are. So we see someone's just diving into the pit lane there. I can't really see it on my screen because it's a bit compressed, but I thought it was Nitramsen, but it's not. Was it Moraletta? Okay.
So short-fueled. So a bit of a splash and dash there. Then for Moraletta, who's had 3 spins here today. And Nitramsen's now 1.6 seconds behind Turajasu, so a bit of a difficulty here now for Nitramsen here, Aidan, because that gap was at some points when they were going down the Mulsanne together, it was like less than a tenth. They were pulling alongside each other more times than sort of waiting in for a queue in Sainsbury's or something like that. Just how close it's been for that second position, in that class will now potentially decide the 3 litre Drivers' Championship.
Yeah, will do.
Nice little comment from Mason789 in the YouTube chat on your stream, Aidan, saying, the jump reminds me of Dingledale from Brands Hatch GP just before being reprofiled. As now Nico Hildbrand is making his way through. We've got just 4 minutes on the clock to go.
Yeah, he can actually afford to slow right down and cross the line just as the time expires, but as it stands, he might have to do one more lap after this.
Yeah. Oh, and I think we've just had our DNF right towards the end of the race. I think that was Liam Dolan in the number 200 has just had a bit of a disastrous end to his campaign in the HRRC.
Can we get a replay of that and play it on a loop?
I don't think Nico's slowing down, is he? Oh dear, the bots have emerged again. That's it, it's all your fault.
Here we go. So this is Liam Dolan. He's coming into Indy, another Indy.
Oh! That was a yeet.
And the Romanian judge gives him a 9.9. That was like something out of Tony Hawk.
or Travis Pastrana. I think there was a double backflip involved in that one, wasn't there?
Oh, was it Colin McRae that rolled it and carried on?
X Games, yeah. X Games in the gold Subaru. He did a couple of barrel rolls. I think 2 or 3, if I remember correctly.
Managed to keep the car running. Did somebody say just yeet?
That was me that said yeet, yes.
Justyeet.com. Just over 90 seconds remaining.
Oh, there was another yellow out there.
Oskari Kantonen doing the Max Tad headlight show that you might remember from TC UK, Alex.
Oh yes, from your good self, of course.
Yeah.
Headlights on the BMW 125 IM Sport, and that still, I think, even in this season of TC UK, when someone else started to do it, I said, "Ah, look, the old Ada Millwall trick is back."
Well, Max Tad was doing it first, and then he left, and I was like, right, I'm doing this now. It's like flash.
Like, there we go. I'm wondering where Nico is at the moment on the circuit, because we're 40 seconds away. There he is.
Looks like we're doing another lap.
Yeah,
He's just coming up to the final few corners now. He's not going to be able to slow down and give it 30 seconds, so we've got one more lap. Jake. Jake's under fueling. I mean, we've got to manufacture some drama, haven't we?
Yeah, of course. Wouldn't be a race without it.
Drive to Survive 1954.
Or Driving to Stay Alive 1954, I think.
Yeah, it really was Driving to Survive at this point, wasn't it?
Oh, he's got. Oh, look, Bergier's in the hunt now for P3. Now, that's been an interesting development. Tramson was, what was it, right with Rajasu. Now that gap has expanded to 5.5 seconds. So Tramson, if he's short fueled, as the timer hits 0 now for the final round of the HRRC season, I think Bergier might have the run on him. He does. He does have the run on him. This could be close between these two.
Still got one more lap to do after this, remember?
Yeah.
Always put in that extra lap if you're in a timed race, because you never know. I did a race in another YouTuber community event in some F4s, and it was at Sonoma, and I crossed the line as the clock hit 0 and I had to do the extra lap.
Oh no.
I was like, I could have slowed down, but I didn't.
Yeah, I think on this last lap, Tramson's going to have to. Well, he's going to be very, very worried about the Mulsanne.
He's got to drive fast enough to keep up, but slow enough to save.
Well, that's brave. To the outside, Bergier gets through on Tramson for third position going on, as we have got someone going to pit lane. And now Oskari Kantonen is the 2-litre meat and a 3-litre sandwich.
Scooby's had to pit right at the death.
Oh, now I'm wondering how far is Jernej Simoncic away from Scooby? Probably not going to be enough anyway, because Scooby was only in the pits for 6.1 seconds, so just for a little splash of fuel. He's over a minute and a half behind Scooby, so fifth isn't going to be a possibility for Jernej on this particular occasion, Aidan.
Yeah, just got done over by the pit stop bug. Whoa!
Oh.
Took a little bit too much grass there.
And he's sideways again going into the exit of Indy. Jernej putting on a show.
Alright, so Nico Hillebrand coming through the final few kinks here. And he will be the final winner of the final race of the HRRC season. Some would call it redemption for what's happened in other rounds. But he's going to be a very happy man crossing the line in the Jag. GP Laps Jake will be second in approximately 20 seconds or so, and will take the championship win. Helped in a way by the glitch that Jernej Simoncic suffered in his pit stop, but it's kind of the equivalent of something going wrong in real life, isn't it? So kind of denied the championship battle that we wanted coming in, but Jake, a very worthy winner in his own league, so that probably means it was rigged. But Maria will take a very anonymous but very, very good third. He's about a minute behind Hillebrand at this point, so we're just going to have to wait a little bit for him to cross the line. And then, all being well, he'll be followed by Jackson Robillard and Scooby Simoncic will finish in 6th and just lose out on the championship at this point. So we just need to wait for everybody to cross the line. There should be a bit of traffic in between some of these drivers as well, so everybody will be finishing all at the same time, hopefully.
Well,
As
this
we
battle
still have a battle that's raging on towards the end of the race here. I think this is just coming up to Indy. Yeah, It looks that way. So we've still got something else going on.
Yeah, that gap is about 2.5 tenths. There's Maria crossing the line in 3rd place. Jackson Robillard coming across the line, but Nitramsen's kept that car very, very wide. No surprise that it's sideways again from Oskari Kantonen, who's going to not only take the race win, this will be, funnily enough, his 4th of the season in the 2 litre class, and effectively he'd wrapped up the title pretty much last time out at Targa Florio. But again, Tramsen's still battling away over that final step on the virtual rostrum for the 3 litres. I mean, Tramsen's done a handsome job of keeping that car in front, hasn't he?
Yeah, he has. Just a 10th in it. But you never know, he could run out of juice just before the line and get overtaken. So we'll just have to hope that it all goes to plan. Scooby's on the final run towards the finish line. But yeah, I don't think he's got enough in it. He could just try and go for the photo finish right at the death. Has he got the pace? Has he got the slipstream? I think he's got. He might get this. He might have this.
He might. Yeah,
he has.
Oh, right on the line. And it was just over a tenth between them, and they crossed the line as well. Oh. Well. That was definitely what you call a photo finish there, Aiden.
Yeah, there's Scooby. We'll take a lonesome 5th in class. Simoncic a bit further behind that. We'll see what else happens in the dying stages. Simoncic is on the Mulsanne here, so I think has he finished? Yeah, he's going slow, so he has finished.
Mm-hmm.
He's just doing a bit of formation flying with Hillebrand.
Or Biggles, as we're now going to call him.
They're going to try and do some donuts in or some drifting.
Yeah.
There we go. East Morpher's just showing off now.
Oh, Nico's just binned it.
on camera. All right, cool. So, what an ending we had with a photo finish. It's been a great season to commentate on, having been here for every single race this season. But there is your top 3: Nico Hillebrand, Jacob Desmarais, GP Labs, Richie Axelsen, and and Maria in 3rd position. And I think we've somebody. Let's get on here. We have Nico Hillebrand in for a quick interview here. Nico, you won the race. You didn't put it in a tree. How are you feeling?
A bit weird. I have to adjust from old habits, but what a race! Awesome, absolutely awesome. This series.
So you managed to get into the lead and stay there. Did you ever have a feeling of don't mess this up, don't stick it in a wall? Did you have any leery moments? I know you sort of went a bit wide at one corner and you kind of had a bit of an OMG moment, but you seem to keep it there and We're actually watching your Twitch stream right now. We can see you driving around on your in lap. We managed to see you in your hat and your goggles doing full cosplay on this. So you've managed to win a race in the HRRC in something that you're probably not used to driving. So I mean, like, how is this compared to some of the usual stuff that you've been driving in eSport?
Way more fun. It's really crazy because for everything else, the steering wheel actually steers the car. I know, a very controversial topic and statement. How am I so brave? But here it's basically like a slot car, so to say. Like, you have the direction thing in the middle, which is the front wheels in this case. And you basically just sort of give the first direction of the corner, and then you just steer with the throttle, and sometimes a little bit with the brake. But it's just such a different driving experience. It's so much fun, and racing in this league, it's been incredible because not only is it competition at like a very high level with people like Jernej, with Jake, who has like such an expertise in cars like these, but everyone is also helping each other out. Everyone's always there to give each other some feedback and stuff, and it's just so awesome here.
Yeah, it's good to see that the like people like yourself and Jernej haven't been try-harding this with your hack setups and things like that. But would you be back for another season if it ever came around?
I mean, I'm one of the main people who's pushing them to do another season. Maybe with the 67 mod next time. So we have Ford versus Ferrari versus Chaparral and Mirage and all that. It's absolutely a fantastic series. I absolutely love everything about it. I'd also be down for like a full historic 24 hours if we could get that together, because I think the driver demand is definitely there.
Yeah.
And just really awesome experience.
It's been something different, hasn't it?
Absolutely. And like racing at these old tracks as well. Like, of course you have Assetto Corsa, but like the physics and the force feedback and the feel and everything in R Factor 2 is just completely in its own league.
All right, fantastic stuff. We'll let you go and cool off and have some dinner and maybe a couple of beers and stuff, and have yourself a good Christmas as well, and we'll hopefully see you soon.
Thank you very much. You guys as well. So see you later.
No worries. Okay. We also have the champion in the waiting room for the interview portion of the show. Jake, you won your own championship.
I won my own championship, but man, what is it? It was a crazy race, and I don't really know what happened to folks in the pit lane and stuff, and it's not exactly the way maybe I'd want to win it, but it solid drive there, and I'm so happy Nico won the race as well, just at the season he's had and everything. So it was quite the race itself from the driver's seat.
Yeah, because you appeared to be nowhere in the opening few minutes or so, and it was like, oh, Jernej's got this because Jake's nowhere, and then it was just this bizarre. We think it was a bizarre glitch in the pit stop. Maybe Jernej didn't cross the white line properly, or he crossed a portion of the pit lane where it's not coded or anything like that. So was it just one of those things that happens and that kind of thing? And do you just think you might have lucked out in that case?
Yeah, I think I lucked out. I mean, I know when I was testing here, the pits are finicky, and when they don't have the separating wall and things like that, because it's all about lines on the road. And I know there are a few ways that you could invalidate your stop, but I have no idea if you're an A, and I know it sounded like Dion had the same issue. I don't know if they crossed those lines or didn't enter correct, or if it was just, one of those things. I guess you could chalk it up to mechanical failure or something, but it, not the way that I want it to be decided. Yeah, not the way I want it to be decided, but ultimately, it takes luck. And there's been times this season too where I didn't have luck on my side. So yeah, happy my stops went well at least, and we had a scary moment in the pits with a car behind me and stuff, but otherwise it was pretty clean overall.
Yeah, it did look pretty clean. I think we only had probably 2 pieces of car-on-car contact. One was just racing instant, one was a bit overzealous into a corner, but I think that's just been the case of the driving standards across the whole season. There's been none of that trying to lob it into a corner from 150 yards further back than you should have done to win the race on the first lap. And just overall, it's been great to watch. People in the YouTube chat have been saying that it's been great racing to watch and all that kind of thing. So, I mean, are you happy with the way that everything's gone over the last, 6 months or so?
Yeah, it honestly couldn't have gone better. First time hosting a series in R Factor 2 and with these cars and tracks, and we had little bumps along the way. with things. But overall, Just Race with our servers did really well. You all with the broadcasts with Simply Race did well as well. And then the drivers themselves, I think everybody, came into this with a similar idea that it's, there was a bit of this competitive spirit throughout, but it's generally just getting together to drive these cars on awesome tracks, and everyone was sold on that from the beginning. So I think the racing is just a result of that.
And the big question, will there be a season 2 in 2023?
Nothing to announce at this point, but we'll definitely be doing races. And I wouldn't doubt seeing something in the future that's a bit more of a serious type atmosphere, but nothing planned just yet. I hope everybody enjoys, a bit of an off season and just reflecting on how much fun this was, and we'll get to planning something new.
Yeah, it was fun to watch, great to commentate over, and you found yourself a little niche in here. It's been very popular, a lot of people have been talking about it, and I hope we do get to see more like this, maybe even a full-on 24-hour race for this particular track and sort of car combo in the future. That would be great to watch, because we loved seeing the fact that it's just been so different to what we're sort of saturated with at the minute. So what we'll do is we'll let you go off and interact with your stream chat, and have yourself a great Christmas as well for next weekend, and hopefully see you again soon.
Thank you, Aiden. Thank you all for covering the season and everything, and it's been a lot of fun.
No, thank you for putting it on. So that was your champion, Jake. Richie Axelson is the champion, and just to do the thank yous for this season. So thank you to obviously Jake for putting the series on. Just Race for the servers that have been taking an absolute pounding, particularly with Targa Florio, and also to Simply Race for the broadcast, Daniel Costello, who's been doing all of the cool graphics and all the cool camera shots and replays that you've been seeing through the season, and also to Alex Goldschmidt, to Zach Sweeney, and to Paul Jeffrey that have joined me in the commentary booth over the last 6 months. So hopefully there will be another season like this in 2023, maybe using some more modern cars, and by modern cars I mean 1967, 1970 cars, that kind of thing, and hopefully we'll see you for that if indeed it does happen. But until then, you have yourselves a great Christmas for next weekend. Maybe flick over and put the rest of the football on for this afternoon. But until next time, I've been Aidan Millward, he's been Alex Goldschmidt, and we'll see you again very soon. Goodbye.
Bye-bye.